Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I am Keita Qualina, Education Officer Digital Literacy, working with state schools on the use of technology for teaching and learning. We will be starting very soon. I'm seeing that there are still people coming in. So far we have almost 70 attendees. In this session, as you have seen in the application form, we will be focusing on basic features related to Microsoft Teams. The session will be held in English. Earlier today, we had another session with over 300 participants. A very similar session where we did it in Maltese, and now this time would be doing the session in English. A basic introduction to Microsoft Teams. We will be recording this session so that anyone who couldn't make it will be able to see also this recording. It might be useful to know that we will be doing other sessions in the near future. We are envisaging that a number of sessions, not just on Microsoft Teams, but related to the use of technology for teaching and learning will be done, these sessions, by the beginning of the scholastic year. In fact, the Directorate for Digital Literacy and Transversal Skills within the Ministry for Education focuses on the use of technology, and as you might have also heard or seen via our media, we focus on helping mostly educators in the use of technology for learning. I need to stress that the focus is teaching and learning. For our kids out there, technology is the vehicle through which learning was possible in the past months. Obviously, the focus here is on Microsoft Teams. We will be seeing some basic features, and if you wish, there is the Q&A section in this meeting where you can post any comments or queries, and my colleagues will be answering your queries. If there are queries who aren't answered, we'll be seeing that we answer our queries also after this session. We are pleased to see that now there are almost 80 attendees. So we had around 300 who registered. We're seeing that over 3,000 registrations were done for the MS Teams sessions we are doing in these couple of weeks. Tomorrow there will be 2 other sessions for students, primary students, and also later in the week for teachers and other educators. So if I may repeat, if you need to ask any queries, there is the Q&A chat box where you can post any queries there during this session. The session will take around 1 hour. Feel free to ask any related questions. So as I mentioned, I am Keita Qualina. I am pleased to be here with you today for this session. And it's interesting to see the high interest that parents have in their kids' education. We had some comments and we will be working on them, for example, of doing other sessions in the afternoons, doing sessions on other for this session. As I mentioned, the focus here for this particular session is to get an understanding of basic features for Microsoft Teams. We have seen how Microsoft Teams can be a very good tool through which teaching and learning could be possible in the past months. We have seen since school closure back in March that tools like Microsoft Teams were vital for our kids' education. And Microsoft Teams was one of such tools which many schools, not just locally, but also on an international level, used for education. Some of you might know also that Microsoft Teams is also available not just in education, but also in workplaces where people use it to communicate, to collaborate together for work also. So here we'll focus on some basic features related to education. We're gonna see also how to access the class, team, or meetings that teachers might make available for our kids. And as I go along, I will be mentioning also the importance that online behavior and digital footprint have. It is very important that when we are talking about kids, and specifically here, we are focusing on primary kids, they are still young, and one needs to take special attention to their behavior online, not just their behavior, but also with whom they are communicating. So it's important that we are careful not to leave our kids alone on devices connected to the internet, but we need to educate, we need to teach our kids how to behave online, and also, for example, the amount of time that is allocated per day for kids through the use of a device. As we know today, devices are connected to the internet, connected to a huge amount of information to other people. So hopefully we do not allow our kids to get out of the house if they are still young without having ourselves taking care of them. And so we need to see as adults that we take care of them also when they are online. Maybe our kids know much more than us on the use of technology. It might be. It's quite normal that kids know more than us on how to connect, how to go in specific apps, but we need to be vigilant so we care for our kids. So that's the goals for this session. Now let's start with a small activity. So what I would like you to do now, by using the device that you're using on or any other device such as a mobile, please go to the website www.menti.com, www.menti.com, and there use the code 942730. So go to browse using Google Chrome, Safari, or any other browser. Go to www.menti.com, browse to this website, and use the code 942730. There I have for you. So we start off this session. If you have any problem, you can always write down in our Q&A chat section, so we can help you out with this session. So I'm seeing that votes are coming in. Right. Okay. So 23 already have voted. What device are you using for this session? Simple question. What device are you using? Are you using your mobile phone, school tablet, your personal tablet, a laptop, a personal computer, or any other device? So to access this question, www.menti.com and use the code 942730. As you can see on my screen here, we're seeing that the majority are using a laptop. Others are using their mobile devices. It's quite interesting to see how even in the past month, students were accessing their lessons, their learning, their material through various types of devices. At times, for teachers, this might be quite a headache because they have kids accessing to different devices with different settings, but surely technology here helps a lot. So this was the first question. Let's move to question 2. So question 2 is, how do you communicate with your kid's teacher in the past months? How did you or your kids communicate with the class teacher? What devices, what method did you use to communicate with the teacher? Hopefully you didn't use any pigeons. So here we're seeing we use teammates, we use yes, learning. Some have used Teams. Okay, very interesting. So may I repeat to access this question 94 27 30. Yes, by messing on Teams, yep, it was a learning curve for everyone. At times, it wasn't straightforward to learn how to use technology, and at the same time, we had to work, and at the same time, our kids had to do their work too. Yes, Teams, Facebook, Class Dojo, your computer. So one way or another, communicated with our class teacher. Obviously, it depends on the teacher, it depends on the context, on what technologies and what tools are being used. For example, here I'm seeing someone has mentioned clicks, which is a VLE used in non-state schools. It's interesting. In fact, also in state schools, for example, we have EILER. I'm seeing that someone mentioned nil, no communication with the teacher. Quite, I think, which we need to reflect on. Okay, so very interesting. Well done, everyone. So third question, and this is more related to today's session. What is Microsoft Teams? For you, surely from the 86 attendees here, there are different people with different expertise and different experiences. What do you think that Microsoft Teams is? And here in this session, we're gonna give a good basic idea of what this tool is about. Yes, it's a program. Yes, it's an application. It's an online educational room. Interesting reply there. Yes, it's a communication tool. It's used to share resources by the teacher with the students and by the students with the teacher to share. It's used for remote meetings so that one can connect live with others. It's used for collaboration. Yes, in state schools, MS Teams is replacing the iLearn VLE. Yes, in state schools, we will have more focus on Microsoft Teams and My School. Very interesting questions indeed. Live videos. Yes, Microsoft Teams can look complex. It is a quite complex tool, Microsoft Teams. Obviously, we should focus on what we need rather than trying to learn all the program. So it is complex, but it depends on how we are using it and how the teacher and school are setting this tool for us. Because as we will see, us as parents or students, we will find that this structure is ready available because it is set by the class teacher or by the school. So what is interesting here in this mind map, very interesting, is that Microsoft Teams, the most ideas that are in the middle, which you have been mentioning here, are communication. It's a communication platform, a program which is used for online learning, a tool. If I may add, I will be mentioning this later on, Microsoft Teams is not just for live sessions. So Microsoft Teams is not just for live sessions. Microsoft Teams can give us much more functionality. Microsoft Teams can be used, as someone mentioned, for the teacher to share content, for the teacher to set tasks for our kids, to give work, to get back work from the kids. Very interesting indeed. We will be sharing the recording of this session, the presentation, and also these answers later on through this chat here. We'll be forwarding these later on after the meeting. So you will have access to all we are saying here during this session. So, very good. If I can now turn back to my presentation. So, Menti is a tool many teachers use or tools similar to this, such as Kahoot or Quizzes, so that they can interact with their students. So that was very interesting. Well done. Next, another question that I will be trying to answer here. Yes, we'll be talking about Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is used for learning in our case. So what is online learning? We have seen it in the past months, since schools closed back in March 13th, that we had to do some emergency type of teaching and learning. And thankfully, we found tools such as Microsoft Teams through which we could continue our practices, our teaching, and obviously for learning to continue. So what is online learning? Online learning is a variety of modes through which we can understand new concepts and learn new stuff, basically. What is important to stress is that live sessions like this are just a type of online learning. Online learning occurs not just when I am doing or participating in a live session like this, but can occur in various modes. For example, the teacher can give a link to a video and the kids can then see the video in another time, not live, not directly at the same time as their peers. So when we speak about online learning, it doesn't mean that we are focusing totally on live sessions. And thankfully, we have seen various teachers using different modalities with our kids in the past months. So online learning, I can group it in two categories. There are both synchronous and asynchronous learning. In synchronous, students learn at the same time. So you have a sort of live session which is done by the teacher and all the kids are sitting in front of a screen all together, hearing and interacting with the teacher, which is important and has its importance, and where communication happens in real time, where it is possible to engage with the teacher and with other kids whilst getting instant feedback and clarification. So if we have a video conference, a live session like this, that's called a synchronous session. And Microsoft Teams makes this possible. Through Microsoft Teams, you can do this. For example, there are other tools similar to this. You can have a Zoom session, where you can have live sessions. But if I look at Zoom, it focuses only on synchronous sessions, on having these live sessions. But in truth, learning doesn't happen just synchronously. In fact, I hope that we are not putting the kids in front of a PC from 8:30 till 2:30 through live sessions. So a whole day, school day, participating in live sessions, because that's surely not healthy for the kids. Because obviously the screen, in front of a screen, your eyes get tired, you even mentally get much more tired. So there are also other types of learning opportunities which can be done through asynchronous modalities. Asynchronous, where students learn at different times, where communication is not live. As I mentioned, the teacher gives a link to a video, for example, to keep it simple, or maybe the teacher tells the kids, read chapter 4. And there the kids have to read chapter 4, and maybe the teacher also gives them some questions which they need to answer at their own time. So asynchronous, were possibly more convenient and flexible. And this was important in the past months, because if the parents are working, the kids obviously would be more flexible because the work could be done at different times, where you allow students to work at their own pace. And through email, through recordings by the teacher, for example, we had lots of teachers doing recordings of their lessons, 2-3 minute or a bit more explanations. These were sent to the kids, and then with them, they would give also some queries, such as questions related to that particular chapter or video. So different ways how you can learn. Synchronous and asynchronous. If I had to choose, I would do both with my class, giving synchronous live sessions, where I group the kids all together in a session, when I can see their faces through camera, where I can interact in these brief sessions, but also I would give them asynchronous tasks that they could do at their own pace. Obviously, the younger the kids are, the more important that some form of synchronous sessions are held even simply just to have the kids seeing other peers' faces and interacting with other kids. It's important even for our mindset, for our mental health. So why am I mentioning this idea about synchronous and asynchronous? Because Microsoft Teams makes all this possible. Through Microsoft Teams, the teacher can do both live sessions and also have a room. Someone mentioned a room in our exercise, a place where the teacher can upload resources, give tasks, and the students can also give feedback back. So Microsoft Teams can actually be a place, let's say a virtual classroom, which strengthens what's happening also in the physical class. So what I'm mentioning here could also possibly be a way how the teacher can augment the physical classroom. Hopefully back in next September, in the next scholastic year, we'll be back at school. Hopefully, surely everyone wants that, wishes that everything gets back to normal. And for sure, Microsoft Teams can be an add-on to the physical classroom. It has a huge potential. Someone mentioned it's complex, yes, but it has a huge potential, and teachers use it and use whatever features they feel that are needed for their classroom. So yes, synchronous, asynchronous. We can say that synchronous has its advantages, can have its disadvantages, and even asynchronous. So ideally, we have a mixture of both. And that will be decided by the teacher and school in the best interest of their students. So here, it's important that this session and others we are doing here at the Directorate for Digital Literacy, we're trying to give an overview of what possibilities there are, and obviously teachers then will decide what's best for the kids. So, next step, Office 365. I'm not sure if everyone is knowledgeable about this. There are different versions of Office, and one of them, one of the latest, is Office 365. And what's interesting is that many of you don't know. Hopefully, all of you know, but I'm saying this because experience shows that many do not know that all kids in the Maltese Islands have free access to these tools. In fact, through the agreement between the state and Microsoft, all kids and teachers have access to Office 365, through which kids can access a variety of tools, such as the most popular are Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and there are others. They can access them online, and even one can download them on your personal devices. So by going in office.com, in the case of state schools, they can also go through ilearn.edu.mt. The most straightforward way is www.office.com. You go to that website and log in using your school account. In the case of state school students, they use their iLearn account. For example, keith.aquilina@ilearn.edu.mt, and from there you can access these tools and also download Office on your account. It is, let's say, free. It's not exactly free because it's part of the agreement between state and Microsoft. So one can use them freely for teaching and learning. I'm mentioning this because one of the tools which are available there is MS Teams, Microsoft Teams. I will be going in this later very soon on how you can access them access Microsoft Teams through your devices. So Microsoft Office 365 is a collection of cloud apps which you can access through your devices, even through your mobile or tablets. Obviously, you need your accounts, or better, you need the kids' accounts, which in this case of state schools, it is at ilearn.edu.mt. One of them, as I mentioned, is Microsoft Teams, and it is very important that you use your iLearn account. It was a difficulty that some have found in the past months that they did not know their iLearn account. So as parents, make sure that you take note of the email address, the school email address and password that the school forwards you for your kids. Keep them safe, because these are the accounts is the key to access all these applications. So the school account, make sure that you keep note of the username and password. If for any reason you change the password, make sure that you take note. And I would add, because we are talking about school children, primary school children, make sure that if one needs to change the password, it is you as a parent that you change the password. May I advise that these kids are still young, so the passwords should be readily available for you as parents. We parents have the responsibility and need to know what they are doing online. So passwords are key to this. So what is Microsoft Teams? Microsoft Teams is a hub for teamwork in Office 365. It is, as I mentioned, free for students and educators in Malta. And Microsoft Teams, you can access it via office.com or via ilearn.edu.mt or via MS Teams app. I will tell you how to download it very soon. So what is Microsoft Teams? It's a hub of communication and collaboration. Through it, the students and teachers can synchronously and asynchronously learn together. They can collaborate together. They can communicate together. There are various options. Obviously, these are always at the discretion of the teacher on how the class can use them. So, how do I log in to Microsoft Teams? Basically, you log in through your computer or laptop or through your school tablet or mobile phone. So basically, you can log in Teams through various ways. In fact, here I am also mentioning that you can access Teams by going straight to the website teams.microsoft.com. But you can access it through different devices or through the web. I would prefer if I download and install the app or software, because usually it's much more. It makes much more sense that it gets more stable when you download the app. But you can access it also through the browser. So if you want to access Microsoft Teams on your personal computer or laptop, what you need to do is to use your web browser, for example, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, or any other browser, and go to www.office.com. Or in the case of state school children, you can also go through ilearn.edu.mt. I would prefer much more straightforward www.office.com. When you browse there, you log in using your school email address, for example, joe.borch@ilearn.edu.mt, and there you are directed to enter the school username and password. From there, you can then access your account, including Microsoft Teams. So in the case of school children, I am seeing a question about the iLearn account. state school children usually are given their accounts in the beginning of the scholastic year. But you already should have available your username and password. So the iLearn account doesn't change from one year to the other. So basically, if your kids are getting in that new school, you will need to get your email address and password. If the kids already are in the particular school, for example, they are going from year 3 to year 4, they will still be using the same iLearn account. So this doesn't change from one year to another. So that's why it's important that you keep note of this account. And as parents, make sure you have control, you have note on the username and password. Still, state schools in the beginning of scholastic year will again give you they will give to all students the email and password. But as I mentioned, if you already have it, you can use it straight away. When you log in through office.com, all you need to do is click on MS Teams and you can then download it or use it straight away. In the case of mobile phones or tablets, you might have your kids which are, or better, have been last scholastic year in year 4 and year 5. In that case, they have their school tablet, their one tablet per child tablet, and it is very straightforward because if you switch on the tablet, there is the toolbox icon, and when you click on the toolbox icon, one of the options you will have in the screen, this is just part of the screen, when you go in the toolbox, you will find that there is already available MS Teams, which is already installed on the school tablet. So you just need to click on it and input your iLearn account and password, your kids' iLearn account and password. If you are trying to access MS Teams from your personal device, from your tablet, from your mobile phone, all you need to do is go, in the case of Apple devices, go in the App Store. In the case of Android devices, go in the Google Play, search for Microsoft Teams or MS Teams, search for it, MS Teams. You will have the app there where you can download it and install it on your device. Once you install the app on your device, all you need to do is open it and log in using your account, your kids, not yours, but your kids' account. It is important you should log in through the kids' account. So I repeat, in the case of state school students, it will be something like key.aquilina@ilearn.edu.mt and the password associated. So the key is that username, that email and password. That is the key to access MS Teams. If you have more than one child that will be using the same device, obviously you need to log out and log in with the different users. So if you have more than one child, obviously you need, for me it's obvious, but it's better said, you need to log in with the specific iLearn account depending on which child will be using at that particular time the device. Do not worry about logging out of the account because it will still work, nothing will be lost. You can also have kids that are using multiple devices. So you can log in a device on MS Teams with the account. Maybe in the weekend, the kid will be at their grandma and there they can access another device, but the key always is to log in with their school iLearn, in the case of state, account. That is the key. So it's important that we know what account is being given to us by our kids' school. So I'm not sure if there are any questions in the chat box. So there is a question there. I have installed MS Teams on my personal Android tablet, but not all features are available. So yes, there are some differences between versions. So you will have all the features if you use a desktop or a laptop for your kids, but still you can access the main features that the teacher would be needing through an Android device. So yes, pertinent question, more so if your kids, or maybe you have some kids which are in secondary school, so ideally to a personal computer or laptop in that case. I am seeing another question by Ms. Barbara. I'm not understanding correct. I believe, yeah, there is a connection not fully secure. I believe that is related to iLearn. So right now, for the past week, we have some issues, known issues with iLearn.edu.mt. So it is it is giving some errors. So try to use Google Chrome, or else for MS Teams, go straight to www.office.com. There are issues with iLearn in these days, which will be resolved. Our technical team is working on them and will be resolved as soon as possible. I'm seeing another question here. Are kinder students using Microsoft Teams too? And do they have an iLearn account? So kinder students will have an iLearn account. So obviously, if they are getting in as KG1, Kinder 1, Level 1, yes, the school will give you their iLearn account. In the case of Microsoft Teams, I am giving an overview of Microsoft Teams. We as a ministry, we are eliciting schools and giving support on Microsoft Teams and My School. It doesn't mean that all schools will go directly to Microsoft Teams. We have schools who have decided to use other good platforms such as ClassDojo. So then it depends on the specific teacher and the school on what tools they decide to use. So in that case, it's better than to see how the schools will be communicating with you. So very good questions, thanks. So let's move on. As I mentioned, before moving on, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A question section. Surely Rosanne is doing a great job there. My colleague, Rosanne Camilleri, will be trying to answer all your queries. So if I can stress this point, to access Microsoft Teams, you need the key to access Microsoft Teams. And the key is the email address and password provided by the school. In the case of state schools, it is the iLearn account. If your kids have already been there in the same school in the past year or years, check with them to see, if you haven't done so, what is the iLearn account and password. So, Microsoft Teams. So, when I log in Microsoft Teams and go in Microsoft Teams, this is the interface that I see in Microsoft Teams. Let me try to show you my Microsoft Teams. So, obviously, so I can communicate better. So when I am in Microsoft Teams, you might be seeing now, you should be seeing my Microsoft Teams. Obviously, this window is for this live session, but here I have my Microsoft Teams, which I'm moving right now. So basically, when I access Microsoft Teams from my laptop or computer, I will be seeing this interface. Here, I can see that I am logged in through my account. So when I click here, I can see my account, and if need be, I can sign out. Obviously, I'm not doing it, else I will be stopping this session, but I am showing you this because if you have more than one kid, then you need to do this, sign out and then log in with the other kid's account. Mainly, we will be using this Teams. From here, you will be seeing your teacher's class. In my case, I have more than one class here on this side, more than one team. Usually, kids will have one or two teams. So in this case, I have these classes, and if I click on one of them, I will see that this class has these channels. So in this case, this test class, I can click and see that there are things related to this class. And then there are other channels. So for example, here, in your case, as parents of your kids, you might have class 4.1, for example, and then here you will have maths, Maltese, English, the different subjects that your kids are learning. And then the teacher might be posting stuff related to the different subjects. So the teacher, when using Microsoft Teams, apart the live sessions that she might be doing with your kids, she might also give access to handouts, to resources, to videos related to your kids' learning. So from the class, you can access then the material the teacher is putting. Obviously, in this session, the idea is to give you a main basic idea of Microsoft Teams. In the coming weeks, we'll be providing further training on different aspects of Microsoft Teams and other topics. So here, the teacher might decide that you can also communicate with her. You might be telling me, but look, my kids are still young. They are in year 1, for example. How can they access Microsoft Teams? It's too complicated for them. Yes, but maybe the teacher is using this to communicate with you. For example, hopefully we will not be in the same position as in the past months where we were doing all the schooling from home. But hopefully not, but if that comes again, we would be better prepared because the teacher can then give you everything in one place, from one space, rather than sending emails, using Facebook and other stuff. Here, everything related to your kids' learning can be put here. Then there are other aspects here. For example, there are assignments. Older kids might be getting tasks here through assignments, where the teacher might be giving tasks and asking for feedback here. You have the calendar, so the teacher can give you meetings in the calendar. And here, for example, I have today's meeting. What I need to do is just click on it and press join. And from there, then I connect with that specific meeting. You might also be asked by the teacher or be allowed by the teacher to chat. And here is the option to chat. And there are many, many other features. This is basically what you will be seeing in the mobiles, through mobile devices. This will be quite similar. You will have the same features, but looking in a bit of a different way. I will be showing you very soon how you can see how all this will look like through your mobiles. So Microsoft Teams, basically through a device, you connect, and from there, from the left-hand side, you move from one space to another. So chat, Teams, assignment, calendar, and the others. There are other features, but the most important are here. For example, a teacher might decide that she will add an app in Microsoft Teams that will be available down here by clicking on the three dots. In the case of this screenshot, you are seeing that here in Teams, there are 5 different themes on different topics. It depends on how the teacher will organize everything for your kids. So, let's move on. So, as I mentioned, one, you use, or teachers might be using MS Teams with your kids is through live sessions, through meetings. It's important that when you are connecting through a live session, that teachers provide you. I here have taken a couple of screenshots. Before clicking on join now, check your settings. Will you be showing your camera when you enter the meeting? Will you have your microphone on? I would prefer if I switch these off before joining a class, before joining a meeting. And then once I am in the meeting, I will see if the teacher wants them switched on or off. So this will help the teacher when your kids get in a meeting. Another option worthwhile considering is the second option here, which is there so that you can blur your background.
Excuse me, Kate, can I mention just one simple question? Is it only the teacher who can share the screen or also the students during a meeting?
So during a live session, similar, maybe some of you have also experienced with Zoom, the teacher can give access to the kids to share their screen. So yes, that option is available in Microsoft Teams meetings, so the kids can share their screen.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rosanne. Very important question. Yes, they can share their screen. As mentioned, the teacher should be leading the session, so we should listen to her instructions. As I mentioned here, camera off, mic off, and you can blur your surroundings. So what I noticed in the past months was that both teachers and students at times left their background switched on, and so, for example, today they showed the contents of the living room. Then tomorrow they switch on again the camera, and now they are in the kitchen, and they switch on, and everything is showing off. So I would advise, obviously you can do whatever you want, but I would advise that you blur your surroundings. There is another option through settings where you can also change the background of your meeting when you have your camera switched on, so that you don't show the content. I would give this advice because when your kids are in a meeting, you do not know exactly who else is watching that meeting. So yes, I recommend that the kids, even more if the teacher says so, that the kids keep the camera switched on. Is very healthy when we are living at home, that we interact with others, that we see the faces of others. For our mind, mental health, it's important that we see each other and communicate with others, but at the same time, we need to safeguard ourselves. So I would say that it's important you reflect a bit about this. Should I be showing off every part of my home? Should I set up a station where my kid always connects to meetings from the same spot at home? So at least only one corner of my home is being shown. These are things I believe it's worthwhile that you reflect on. And there are ways how you can keep yourself safeguarded. So when you are in online meetings, there are different settings. Here, I'm not going through everything. It's much more related for teachers, this slide, but I'm showing two examples. Important. It's ideal that we give time for our kids to communicate with others. It's very healthy. And I'm saying this also from my experience as a parent of two energetic boys. It's important that they communicate with others, and we give them time to communicate with others. And also, MS Teams provides the teacher a way how he can communicate with our kids, and also he or she can show content as we are seeing here. So it's a very powerful tool, and here we are seeing synchronous ways, live sessions. But as I mentioned, Microsoft Teams isn't just about live sessions. Microsoft Teams can be used also for the teacher to have a repository of material where the teacher can share content with the kids, can give, for example, digital books shared with the kids, can give links to videos, etc., etc. There are ways also how kids can also share stuff between them if always the teacher allows that. Through MS Teams, one can also, as a teacher, can also assign homework, assign quizzes to the teachers, sorry, to the students. There are many ways how this versatile tool, Microsoft Teams, can be used. So my focus here in this session is that, yes, there are live sessions that can be done. Kids learn a lot through live sessions, but also learning can be done asynchronously, where the teacher gives tasks which might not need a computer. For example, I like to call them unplugged activities. For example, teachers giving a task where, for example, the kid needs, let's say, to count the cars which are passing in front of my home and then do a graph related to that data. So there is mathematics in this small task. And surely teachers are very creative and can give many tasks related to their curriculum. And surely it is up to the teacher to see how best to teach your kids. Obviously, it's important that you give feedback so everyone can help each other. So we're coming to an end to this session. I would like to share with you this link, teamsdemo.office.com. Maybe if you can find after this session 5-10 minutes, this link, teamsdemo.office.com, is prepared by Microsoft, where through this link, I'm showing it to you right now, you can actually get a better idea on what I was speaking. It's a sort of a tour through which you can take a look through desktop or mobile. So depending on what device your kids will be using, you will get an idea. Let me choose now mobile because I already showed you some stuff from desktop. You get a walkthrough of Teams. So in this case here, I am going through this walkthrough. Here, for example, he's showing me that for MS already here, it's installed, and I get an idea of what I will be looking at, and with some instructions. So as you can see, MS Teams on mobile might be a bit different, but it's showing the same stuff. So what's important is that you have the teams, and for each team you have the channels related. So it's quite short, and you can take a look at it. Teamsdemo.office.com. It's just a website. It isn't the true Microsoft Teams. It is just a demo for you to get an idea of what Teams is about. Obviously, this isn't related just to education, but it can give you a good idea of what Teams is about. Rosen, I'm not sure if maybe there are some other questions which we can answer.
Basically, I'm answering almost all of them. Some asked about where the blur background is found. You should hover on the screen for the background effects to find that. And for those who are saying that they cannot access some features of the MS Teams, the calendar or the assignments or whatever, it might be that you are not in the organization. For example, if you are from a church school, once you are logged into the organization itself, then these features